Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United news, and it's good to be back after the weekend. We've got plenty to talk about like we always do. But before we get into it, guys, please do smash a like on the video. If you are new to the channel also, please do hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we're on the way to 11,000 subscribers and the numbers are flying up lately. But like I said, guys, plenty to get into. Ligt to Manchester United. United have officially had a bid rejected by Bayern Munich. We'll talk about the figures and what it means about our pursuit of a second centre-back this summer. We've got updates on Jadon Sancho as well. Reports coming out today suggesting that PSG are very keen on signing Jadon Sancho. And even down to the fact that personal terms potentially have been agreed already, or are close to being agreed for him. We've got updates as well on United's pursuit of a new right back. It looks like Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to be leaving, like we've been talking about over the last few weeks. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and United are looking to go back to Bayern Munich and double dip, maybe taking players out there. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We do have some competition for that, the signing of that player as well. We've got updates on Bruno Fernandes as well, guys. Reports linking Bruno Fernandes away from Manchester United are not going away. They continue to surface throughout this transfer window, and they kept getting knocked back. And we've got another one today, so we'll speak about that as well. We've got updates as well on Fofana to Manchester United, reports linking us to him as well. Other midfielders as well, Zubimendi, Fabrizio Romano has given us an update on that as well. And outbound, when it comes to midfielders, Casemiro, updates on that. Is there a likelihood that he's actually going to stay at United? So we'll see what happens with all of that. But as always, guys, like I said, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you are new to the channel, but most importantly, get into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts on all of these topics as we go through them. If you are new, like I always say, jump into the chat, say hello, let us know you're new, and great to see new people in all the time. Anyway, let's get cracking and let's talk first and foremost about Ligt. Reports suggesting today, coming straight out of Germany, Christian Falk says Manchester United have had an offer of around 30 million. Some people are saying 30 million euro, other people are saying 30 million pounds rejected for Matthijs de Ligt. They rejected the offer and are demanding 42 million pounds plus add-ons. So we're talking 50 million euro plus add-ons for de Ligt. Negotiations are continuing. I do think it's closer to the 30 million euro mark rather than the 30 million pounds. I think it's actually under the 30 million pounds that United have initially offered. Now, again, we've seen this happen. So far, we've seen it happen twice in the two players that we've signed. United have gone in. No, sorry, I lie. We've seen it twice, but only from one of the players that we've signed. We went in with Euro and that was accepted straight away. But we see United going in, even with the likes of Brantwaite, for example, and we've seen an early bid for João Neves being rejected, of Manchester United going in with low offers. And again, you know, I go back and reiterate my stance on this. It's more beneficial to a club to go in and go low. Go as low as you possibly can without disrespecting the club that you're looking to buy the player from. Now, even at that, you know, United wouldn't be foolish enough to go in and bid 10 million for De Ligt, because Bayern Munich would laugh them out of the building. However, it wouldn't deter Bayern Munich from, you know, negotiating with Manchester United. So I think United are absolutely spot on going in with, you know, the price that they've gone, maybe around 30 million euro, anywhere between maybe 27 million pounds and 30 million pounds, something like that probably. But I think Manchester United are probably quite aware that their first bid was going to be rejected. And like I said, if you go low, you know, there's more likelihood that you'll get a figure in the middle between both clubs. However, if you go high with your first bid, you're leaving yourself less room to actually negotiate with the club you're buying the player from. Well, look, I mean, the Ligt to Manchester United, I think, is probably going to happen this summer. Again, I think Bayern Munich probably will lower their demands. They're talking about, you know, 50 million euro plus add-ons. So add-ons are generally another 5 to 10 million. Now, 60 million euro for a guy who Bayern are looking to get rid of is probably a bit high. And that kind of 60 million euro amount is kind of it's kind of the sweet spot for an awful lot of deals so far this summer. Not just with United, but seen it across multiple clubs. And we'll talk about another midfielder we're looking at, Zubimendi. He's got another 60 million euro release clause as well. So that seems to be the kind of the sweet spot. However, Bayern need to sell before they can buy. And I think that's, obviously an advantage to Manchester United. And I think there is room for negotiations there. Look, when it comes to Ligt, I think Ligt is coming in, and he's coming in to be the first choice. I really do. Obviously, we've bought Lenny Yoro, and he is the up-and-coming, young, hungry, guy that's trying to make a name for himself. Ligt is coming in with bucket loads of experience. So I think he's coming in probably as the number one choice. I really do. And you can look at maybe rotating him, Yoro, Martinez, for example, all together. And if we do go out and get Ligt and we get him for, a price closer to our valuation than Bayern's, then I think we are getting a very, very good player, and we're adding some really important depth into our squad, which is something we haven't had for a long, long time. And we need to do that in more areas as well. Centre-back and centre midfield are the biggest priorities when it comes to depth, And that's why we've gone out and got, deals done early for Xerxes up front, because you can't go into another season, with Rasmus Højlund on his own. You just cannot do it. It's it just wouldn't work. So, look, the Ligt United, I think, is something that is not going away. The fact that Manchester United have put in a bid for him now, and believe it or not, it's actually the first official bid. When I first heard it, I went, oh, did we not go in with a bid already for him? We've been bidding for everyone and trying to get it done nice and early. But look, he's still on holidays at the moment as well. So, again, not that it's not, major priority. I think it is. You want to get your players in as quickly as possible. However, we do have, what have we got? We probably have the rest of this week, maybe, before he comes back from holidays, I think. So we've still got a little bit of time. But I do think it shows good progress from United, the fact that there's now an official bid gone in. We've gone to Bayern Munich. Look, we've bought Lenny Yoro. We're still interested. Here's a bid to prove we're interested, and let's sit down and negotiate and see can we work out a deal. So, yeah, I think the likelihood of us getting them are quite high at the moment. Let's see what people are saying here. Neverwhere says, give Sancho to PSG on the free, that they pay Bayern 75% of the Ligt. Yeah, well, I don't know what the legalities are around that, but Bilal says, United should go for Frimpong once Sancho is done. Gavin is in as well. He says, Lenny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez will be dangerous next season. Neverwhere says, then use the money saved to finalise the Ligt and pay PSG for Ugarte, or go and get your man Fofana. Man, you need to be working for Manchester United, so you do. This is genius. Danny says, I kind of seen Bayern Munich rejecting United's offer of 35 million plus add-ons for the Ligt. I'm hoping Man United will go back in with a new offer, but let's hope we don't overpay. I don't think we will overpay. I think the days of overpaying are gone at Manchester United. Now, look, you will have people saying, and opposition fans saying, well, you paid 60 million for an 18-year-old with 1 year left on his contract. Yes, but that was to keep him out of the clutches of Real Madrid. So, yeah, I think there are exceptions to the rules as well. Gavin says, sorry, just let me close this door. 1 sec. Gavin says, I would pay £35 million plus 4 in add-ons for De Ligt. Ben is in as well. Rick is there. Good to see you guys. We will get him, I think, says Rick. Darryl says, I'd go with some sort of swap deal for Ugarte. Yeah, look, a lot of people saying that online today about, a potential swap deal between United and PSG, Sancho and Ugarte. Swap deals are very difficult. They're very difficult because, okay, you can agree, the two clubs can agree, but you've got to agree personal terms either side with individual players. You might be more progressed with personal terms. Let's say with Sancho and or let's say, Sancho wants more money, so he's negotiating with PSG, but we've already got personal terms wrapped up with Ugarte, and we're waiting. Lads, come on, what's going on here? And then it falls apart, and you have to go back in with a separate bid, and so on and so forth. So I think probably keeping the bids separate is probably the smartest way to go, because either way the money is going to change hands. But if you keep it as two separate bids, you can allow each separate bid to work at its own timescale, which can be a benefit then as well. Robert says PSG should not waste money on Sancho. Shh, don't tell them. Don't tell them. Yes, they should, Robert says, Neverworld. They should overpay for Sancho. There we go. Bilal says, Rabiot or Amrabat if you had to choose. Rabiot. Now, I know he's a little bit older, but I do think he's a better player. And the fact that you could potentially get him on a free, is big. It really is big. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we go in for Rabiot in the next, if we hear something in the next maybe week or so, off the back of hearing over the weekend that Amrabat to Manchester United. Well, United are not going to trigger the buy option of £17 million for Amrabat. However, they do retain an interest in him. So again, you're probably looking at smart negotiation from Manchester United as well, saying, look, we're interested in him. We don't want to give you 17 million, but we'll give you maybe 12 million with 3 million in add-ons, and we'll stagger it over 2 years. Again, smart. So I'm not going to write things off. Look, if Amrabat does come and sign for United, I think it would be easier to have Amrabat as a squad player than it would be Rabiot. I think Rabiot would want to play an awful lot more. But I would take either, to be quite honest with you, to give us that depth in the squad, like we've been saying that we've been looking for. Any news on Ugarte? No updates on Ugarte really since the weekend. United retain an interest. Supposedly personal terms are agreed, and it's just about working out a fee with PSG. Again, you're seeing PSG wanting a higher amount of money than United are willing to pay. So again, it may take a bit of time to negotiate. Amrabat over Rabiot. Rabiot's mother blagged him a career. Jamie says, any chance someone might jump in with a tasty bid for Lindelof? Well, there was reports linking him to Fenerbahce. Supposedly Mourinho was looking at him. I think he will move on. He wants to move on. I think it could potentially get done. But again, the thing about it is, we're not overly pressed to selling players necessarily to buy players. We can still buy players as long as we offload the likes of Lindelof and the likes of, maybe Maguire or whoever else that we're looking to sell before the end of the transfer window to balance the books. We don't necessarily need to sell a player to go out and buy a player, which is good. Maiten says, we do not need Ligt when we have Martinez and Yoro, but what we do need is depth, okay? I would rather have either Yoro or Ligt fighting it out for that right side at centre-back than I would Yoro and Maguire. That's an absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. Robert says, Man United should sign a new right-back because Aaron Wan-Bissaka plays old model football. Yeah, but sometimes that's the best way to play. There are games, we'll get on to right-back in a minute, but there's games where, and there's situations where Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best 1v1 defender in the world. This whole modern, and I was a fullback, so you've cut to the bone there, Robert. Sometimes being a defender is about fucking defending. Not all of this airy-fairy overlapping and, dropping into midfield and making up 5 in midfield and so on and so forth. Sometimes you just need to be able to bloody defend. And there's nobody better at it than Aaron Wan-Bissaka 1v1. Nobody. But he probably will leave. Neverworld says, a bit enthusiastic there, Jamie, but keep the fingers crossed. Bover says, Rabiot or Amrabat, Sabitzer all day. Licha or Yoro get injured. What are we doing, says Neverworld. We need another solid centre-back, and the Ligt, ticks the boxes. Absolutely, he does. Bilal says, in terms of having a midfield roster, would be happy with Ugarte, Bruno, Mount, McTominay, Manu, Rabiot. Gavin says, I think £42 million is fair for Ugarte, 36 million for Ugarte, and 6 million over 3 years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but we'll try and bring it back and talk about the next topic. But it's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on the Ligt over the next few days, maybe week or 10 days, maybe, because, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a here we go very quickly on it, as long as we can get a deal done with Bayern. Want to talk now, guys, and talk about the next hot topic at the moment is Jadon Sancho and a potential move to PSG for Sancho. Now, we've heard the updates. Potentially that PSG are interested in him. Obviously, they've got a big Kylian Mbappe-shaped hole on the left side of their attack, and we know that Jadon Sancho wants to play on the left-hand side, as he so, abruptly told us when we bought him as a right winger, which, made absolutely no sense. So this is coming out from the same reporter that broke the news about Lenny Yoro, and a bid was accepted, or a bid was entered and accepted by Man United, and then subsequently the medical. Same journalist here is saying that PSG are close to reaching an agreement on personal terms with Jadon Sancho. And Fabrizio Romano rebuffed it today as well. He said Jadon Sancho is indeed on the PSG list. It all depends on what Man United want to do and ask for. So we do know that United have come out in the past week or so saying that, look, Jadon Sancho, we've drawn a line under the issues between him and Erik ten Hag. He's now back at Manchester United, and we're looking forward to having him for the upcoming season. I think we quite quickly we said, as a community, this is just surely putting Jadon Sancho in the shop window. There's no point in him coming back to Manchester United and training in the reserves, getting, togged out in the dressing room on his own because he can't be with underage players. And I think this is Man United putting Jadon Sancho back in the shop window, is all it's doing. And it seems to have done the job relatively quick. Now, look, he played against Rangers the other day. I thought he was okay. He didn't stand out massively, but he didn't do anything overly wrong. PSG are probably one of the only teams who can maybe afford Jadon Sancho and what he's looking to do. And the fact that, if this report is to be believed, the fact that there's an agreement on personal terms is a massive step forward in Jadon Sancho leaving Manchester United. I don't think Manchester United will be too stubborn on the price, to be quite honest with you. What should we be asking for Jadon Sancho? I would be saying probably 30 million euro. I think that would be a fair price for him, and I would take the hand off of anybody that offers that. I don't think we'll get much more. When you look at, the price tag he came for, what was it, 74, 75 million, something like that, and he's done next to nothing in 3 years. So, time is running down on his contract as well. So, I think 30 million is probably a fair price for Jadon Sancho, given the fact that the buying club is going to have to fork out some, pretty substantial wages to get him signed as well. But yeah, and we go back and we talk about, these potential deals and these potential offers happening at United. And 30 million euro for Jadon Sancho is a big, I suppose, lump sum that you can go and reinvest into the squad. Like, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about what Man United, before we made a signing, what United could potentially make in outgoings. And I think the figure we kind of landed on was 120 million euro that we could potentially make on the high side, maybe. We're already after getting 30 for Mason Greenwood. We're after getting 10 for Kambuala. That's 40. I think we could easily get 30 for Jadon Sancho. That's 70. We probably get in or around 25 to 30 for Casemiro. Okay, that's 100. And then you've got little bits like, Aaron Wan-Bissaka could go for 15 to 20. There's your 120 million euro or pounds, whatever it is, straight away. So I think it is quite doable. But players like Jadon Sancho have to leave. They just do. And we need to get him off the books, and we need to get him out as quickly as possible. And a lot of these players are on massive wages. Like Jadon Sancho he's on 300 grand a week, I think. It's huge wages. When you look at the likes of Joshua Zirkzee coming in, I think he's on 52 grand a week. So it's a big swing getting someone like him off the books. And, the money that you spend over, another 2 years giving him, 300 grand a week, if you were to keep him, he'd see out his contract regardless. You're going to lose out on a transfer fee for him, and you're going to be forking out 300 grand a week. You could go out and buy a very good right-sided player for that amount of money, or the potential investment that you would have, made if you kept Jadon Sancho. Take that investment, get rid of Sancho, and put it towards buying someone else. I think you could get a very good player. Jadon Sancho, again, I will reiterate the fact, I don't think Jadon Sancho is guaranteed to leave Manchester United. I don't think he is. I could very easily see United entering negotiations with PSG and agreeing on a fee, and then all of a sudden personal terms can't be agreed because Sancho's asking for too much. Now, if there's any team that were looking to buy a player from you that's on big wages, PSG are that team. But nothing is set in stone yet. And look, they're after losing Kylian Mbappe on a free. Now, he was on huge wages there as well. So maybe they do have a little bit of wiggle room to bring in someone like Jadon Sancho and give him 200 grand a week maybe. I don't think Jadon Sancho is going to get anywhere close to what he's been getting at United, given the fact that he got that on his initial contract with us and he's done jack shit since. So I think Jadon Sancho more than likely will leave now that we're seeing these kind of reports. But again, I reiterate, I wouldn't be surprised if he's still with us, for the entirety of the season. Now, we can't get him off the books, to be honest with you. Let's see what you guys are saying. Get your comments in as always, guys. Please do smash a like on the video as well, guys, if you haven't done so already. Let's try to get the 50 likes by the end of the video. If you are new, please do hit that subscribe button as well. On the road to 11,000 subscribers. Turn on notifications if you're a new subscriber. You get notified every time we go live. And of course, do jump into the chat and say hello. Let's see what people are saying about Jadon Sancho here. Let me just scroll back a bit. Look at Trent Alexander-Arnold as a modern defender. Oh yeah, that's about defending. Yeah. Chris says we will get him. Just have to be patient. There's other options. Bilal says, if Sancho leaves, are we good with Rashford, Garnacho, Ahmad, Anthony on the wing? Probably not. I think we will have to go out and reinvest into that right-hand side. Who were we linked with last week? We were linked with a right winger last week. I can't remember. We've been linked with so many people over the last few days. Neverworld says, next 72 hours, the Ligt is ours. Lads in Manchester tonight, watch this space. There we go. All right, Neverworld is on the... he's got his finger on the pulse. Good for Sancho, says Chris. Well, it would be a good move. I mean, you're going to PSG. You're going to, a big club. You're going to be in the Champions League. You're going to win the league pretty much every year. So I don't think it's a bad move for him, to be quite honest with you. Gavin says, I'd let Sancho go for 35 to 40 million. Cheese and pickle sandwich should be banned, says Chris. All right. Danny says, it's good that Sancho and Erik ten Hag have put their differences to the side, but it would be in Sancho's best interest if he leaves this summer. 40 million, and there's the door, Sancho. Use it. I'd let him go for 45, says Darryl. You have to realise, though, lads, we paid 70 for him. Was it 70? 72 million or something. He's done nothing. And he's fallen out with the manager, I think 30 million. I think 30 million maybe with add-ons. Chris says 25 plus 10 in add-ons. There we go. 30 million with 5 million after 30 appearances. We get that. We would get that easy for Sancho. Darryl says you left Eriksen out of that list. Need him gone. Yes, but realistically, what would you get for Eriksen? Would you get 5 million for him? Now, and look, it's not to be sniffed at. Of course, it's not. But yeah. I hope Ricardo Rio's rumours are false. I didn't hear them. Would give us 5 million at the start of next season too, says Neverworld. Bilal says, have we missed the chance on Diaby? He is going to the Saudi League. By the looks of things, I would say I don't think we were ever in for him, to be honest with you. Lincoln says Ahmad should have a chance on the right hand side. Ask for 40 to 50 million for Sancho. Well, look, I think this is a big season for Ahmad. And we heard Erik ten Hag speaking about Ahmad only the other day, saying that, look, this is his season now and he's got to take his chance when it comes, because You know, he had a good end to the season. There was reports. I didn't bring it up as an article, but there are reports coming out today suggesting United are going to enter into negotiations for a new contract for Ahmad over the coming weeks and months as well, which is positive for him. But it certainly is a big season for Ahmad, and he's going to have to hit the ground running and take his chance when he gets it. Because that right-hand side will be snapped up by Garnacho if he's playing well, and, you know, maybe Rashford on the left. If he can, you know, find, you know, some of his form, then, yep, absolutely. Rick says, if they're willing to sell Van de Beek for 500 grand, then they will sell Sancho. Don't worry about that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Martin says, is it really a right decision for Man U to let Sancho go? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think so anyway, personally. I think it's the right decision. What has he done, Martin? Like, you know, not to be, you know, just, you know, banter and all that, but let me throw it back at you for a minute. Is it the right decision for Man United to keep Sancho? What has he done in 3 years? You know, what has he done? So I'll throw that back at you, and let me know your comment. Let me know your thoughts. You know, if you have a reason that you think he should stay, then brilliant. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. My own opinion, personally, is I think he's a bad pro. He is inconsistent. He's a bad apple, a bad egg in the dressing room, and we should move him on while we can. That would be my opinion. I'd sell Ericsson for a tenner, and that's not million, says Daryl. Won the league 6 times on the PlayStation, says Ben. Yeah, there we go. Rashford only sees himself in the last third and always gives away the ball. And Neverword says, Sancho, 30 million plus 5 off the price of Ugarte, then 36 million for Ugarte, and 2 million over 2 years. Use the money saved to get the Ligt over the line and go fund Palmer. Do you ever see that yoke where there's pluses and minuses and algorithms just floating through there? So me reading that now is just going, huh? All right, fair enough. If it works, it works. If it works, it works. Let's move it on before I have to get the calculator out. But Chris says, if we can't get rid of him, I would give him a second chance, but he has to work. Nothing given. Yeah, I mean, if we can't get rid of him, the smart thing is to reintegrate him back into the squad, 100%. You know what I mean? Because you might as well have him there as cover. Now, I still think he would be probably a squad player. But, yeah, I mean, if he's there, you might as well use him. Dribbly lips. Right, let's talk about something else instead of Jadon Sancho. Let's move it on, guys, and talk about the right-back situation at Manchester United. Big developments over the last maybe week or so in terms of right-back. We've been talking about Aaron Wan-Bissaka and the fact that he could potentially leave this summer. It's either we sell him this summer or we offer him a new contract, because he's got 1 year left and we can't afford to let him go on a free. So I think the likelihood of him leaving is quite high. Now, who have we got to replace him? Reports coming out today that Manchester United are going back to Bayern, back to Bayern to look at their right back. Now, I know what you're going to say, and all the opposition fans are going to say it as well. Look at this picture. Ten Hag going back in for another former player from Ajax. Ten Hag hopeful of bringing a Mazraoui to Manchester. Okay, let's talk about it here. So Plettigol has been talking about this today, Florian Plettenberg, and he's been on the ball this summer, Plettenberg has, in fairness to him. He says Manchester United and West Ham are exploring a deal to sign Mazraoui. First concrete talks have taken place. Mazraoui is at the top of the list for both clubs, and he's keen to play Premier League. Bayern are pushing to get 20 to 25 million euro, but a more realistic price of 15 to 20 for him. Now, if we look at, I just want to see what age he is here real quick. He is 26 years of age, so he's coming into his prime, and you would be getting a decent right back. In fairness, now is he going to come in and take the place of Diogo Dalot? Probably not, to be quite honest with you. And I think that's probably why we're going for him. Okay, if we are to be moving the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka on, and we can talk about it here, United are seriously considering replacing Wan-Bissaka with Mazraoui. They have lowered their demand for Wan-Bissaka and have asked for £10 million. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka potentially leaving for quite cheap, because United are wanting him off. We're wanting to get something for him before he potentially stays and leaves on a free then next season. But I do think 10 million is very low for what you're getting in terms of Aaron Wan-Bissaka and the ability and the potential that he has. Maybe not potential, but the quality that he has for a team like West Ham or a team like Crystal Palace or wherever it may be. But I understand as well, you do have to take into consideration that he is coming into the final year of his contract. He is. And you have to be realistic about what you can look and ask for him. But I do think 10 million is kind of on the low side. But getting back to Mazraoui, I mean, he will come in and challenge the law. Absolutely he will. But I think we would be getting a player who's probably more willing to be a backup right back than Aaron Wan-Bissaka is at the moment. And we would basically be just swapping Wan-Bissaka, not swapping directly between clubs, but if we're getting Wan-Bissaka gone for 15 million and we're buying this guy for 15 million, then, it's a straight swap. There will be changes at right back this summer. I can guarantee it. There'll be changes, because Man United and the new structure and the new board behind the scenes, so on and so forth, are not going to allow players to leave on a free. They're not going to allow them to run down their contracts. Now, look, any player can do that, but we've got some proper lads behind the scenes now who can, go out and get a deal done. The likelihood of players running down their contracts is going to be a lot less than it used to be. So I do think we are going to see changes at right back this summer. I think Wan-Bissaka will leave, and if he does leave, we have to bring in a replacement. And this guy, by the looks of things, obviously United are in talks with Bayern over it. Now, it's very easy for United to be talking to Bayern over this guy, because you're already sitting in the same room with the same, guys negotiating for Ligt. So, double bubble, get it done. Happy days, sign the deal, get him over, hold up the jersey, here we go, kick a ball, be good at, win the league, Champions League, treble again. Unreal. So, let's see what happens. But I do think there are going to be changes at right back, because and look, as well, I would say about Mazraoui, I haven't seen a massive amount of him, if I'm being 100% honest. So I don't know if he's going to come in and be, is he going to come in and say, right, I'm the new right back here? I mean, Dalot is young. What's Dalot? 25 max, I would say. He's probably not even that, I would say. Yeah, he is 25. Yeah, so Dalot's 25. So they're of similar age. But I think it would be good to have, again, we go back to what we've been saying about the strikers, about Xerxes and about Rasmus Højlund. Two young players, hungry, fighting it out for that place. No problem with the same thing happening at right back between Dalot and Mazraoui. Absolutely not. I'm you know me, I'm all for competition. If you don't have competition, you're dead. So you are. You're dead. Let's see what people are saying. Lincoln says, we must sign 24-year-old Ligt, very good on the ground and would have a lot to prove by staying fit. Neverworld says, it works out, we would end up spending 107 million in total with the saving, because we'd have only paid 6 million for Ugarte. Let's see what other people are saying. Yusuf is saying, Man United should let him go. That lad from Turkey, says Chris. I'm afraid to say his name because I haven't heard it before. Lincoln says, we need an attacking right back to support the right wing properly. Yeah, well, look, Delor's well able for that. I think he done a relatively good job of it as well for Portugal in the games that he played in the Euros this year as well. Yusuf says, buy Frimpong. Well, Frimpong would be the ideal choice. The thing about it is he going to want to leave Leverkusen now after they had such a great season last year? They're into the Champions League. I don't know. And then also on our side, he's going to come in and be number one. Are you going to bring him in ahead of Delors? Yeah, let's see. But I would like him. What else are we saying here? Prices like that are very interesting, says Chris. They are. It's great to see these types of figures being put out there. And, you know, what eases the mind an awful lot more is when you're seeing these types of prices for players. And now we also know that the guys behind the scenes, Ashworth, Wilcox, Barada, they're scouting players. You're not just going out willy-nilly buying players for nothing just because they're a name or just because you're panic buying. We are putting the time and effort into identifying players. So if we're identifying a lad for 15 million, brilliant. And to put the cherry on the icing on the cake, if it doesn't work out and he turns out not to be good, there's such little pressure on him because of the price tag. And the criticism is nowhere near as much. You know, if you paid 60 million for a backup right back and he turned out to be crap, then there's going to be a lot more criticism, isn't there? Ant says like and share. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel as well, guys. I do appreciate everybody. All of the new people coming in and subscribing is absolutely fantastic. If you want to become a channel member as well, link is in the description of the video for some extra content. You get to come on the match reaction videos live with us after every watch-along game as well. I'm in the process of making the first quiz as well. So we're having a members-only quiz every month for obviously for members only. We're going to keep a score, and then the winner at the end of the year will win a jersey, for example, or something like that. So yeah, check out the link in the description, guys. Become a member. Helps out the channel an awful lot. Danny says, reports say Man United are willing to let Wan-Bissaka go for £10 million. Yeah, right there. Hopefully we get more than that for him. Then we should sign Frimpong. He's a better right back than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Lincoln says, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he can defend but poor going forward and never wants the ball. Yes, but I would rather have Aaron Wan-Bissaka playing at right back up against Kylian Mbappe than I would Diogo Dalot. So there's pros and cons to everything. I think we've got a good balance with Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, where you can chop and change depending on who your opponent is. David Hanko from Feyenoord can also play centre-back as cover. Should be going in for Frimpong, says Darryl. Let's see. That's going to get clipped. Oh, treble. Oh, God. Frimpong would want guaranteed minutes. Exactly. We need competition in every position, says Lincoln. And then Martin says, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka is good. I don't know why Manchester United want to let him out. 1 year left on his contract. That's why, Martin. And he probably doesn't want to be the backup right back anymore. Chris says, do you think the transfer market is adjusting itself because no one is paying the huge release clauses, prices becoming more realistic? I 100% agree. I was only thinking the same thing today, and I think we're seeing an awful lot of it down to the fact that clubs are being clamped down on by FFP. You know, we're seeing Nottingham Forest, we're seeing Everton, we're seeing all the charges that Man City are up against as well. Clubs are not getting away with it anymore. You have to have the books balanced. You cannot just go out and buy and spend massive amounts of money. And yeah, I think we're seeing a natural adjustment. Maybe the bubble has burst in the transfer market. Now you are going to have your big, 80, 90, 100 million pound signings. Like João Neves, for example, is the best up and coming centre midfielder in Europe at the moment. And PSG are in for him. They're probably going to pay 90 million for him, 100 million, But yeah, I certainly do agree. I think we're starting to see a levelling out. of the crazy figures. Lincoln says, Ineos are doing a good job. We are no longer overpaying for players, wasting money. Absolutely. And Frozen is in. He says, will Collier replace McTominay? Well, look, he's after getting a new contract, and reports only yesterday were saying he is in line to get some game time this season. He will be, like Manu, for example, was. Now, Manu was just such a breakout star that when he came into the team and started playing, you went, yeah, this guy needs to start all the time. But I think Collier will probably be drip-fed into the squad, into the first team. He will get game time this year. There's a lot of games, Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, we're probably going to have upwards of 50 games again this season easily. So, bring it on. Bring it on. Toby Collier looked good. Excited to see what he can do. Yeah, so am I. And he's highly rated as well. He's absolutely highly rated. Have we got anything else to talk about, guys? A little bit on midfield. And I'll put these up kind of, and we'll do this all in one before we finish up. So, United, again, about midfielders, have put in inquiries for a French midfielder. Now, this is in relation to Youssouf Fofana. Manchester United have made first inquiries with the representatives of Monaco midfielder Youssouf Fofana, but for the moment AC Milan have the edge in the race to sign him. Milan have done considerable groundwork in the pursuit of the midfielder in the ongoing transfer window. The Rossoneri have already agreed personal terms on a 4-year contract with the midfielder, and an agreement is in place for a deal worth €3.5 million per season. Monaco rejected the first bid of €12 million, and the Serie A giants are now working on making a new offer. However, according to Italian outlet, AC Milan are facing a threat of losing their second top target to Manchester United. Now, we have heard other reports suggesting that Monaco have set a €35 million price tag for Youssouf Fofana. I mean, when you're looking at the differences there, I mean, AC Milan have gone in with a €12 million opening bid, and this report then is suggesting that 35 million is the asking price. There's a big difference in the gap there. Can United jump in and steal another march on AC Milan? That remains to be seen. I like Fofana. I think he's a good player. He's by no means a world beater, but he is a good, competent player. That brings us on then to Zubimendi. And Fabrizio Romano have been talking about this guy from Real Sociedad. Said United, along with other clubs, are interested in him, but Sociedad will only sell for the €60 million release clause. And I can't see United triggering that release clause, for that kind of money, unless we get rid of somebody. And that somebody you would presume would be Casemiro. However, Saudi Pro League clubs are cooling their interest in Casemiro. Now, they haven't completely ruled out coming in for him later in the transfer window, but the likelihood of Casemiro staying at Manchester United is growing day by day. Okay? And for what reason they're cooling their interest in him, I don't know. Maybe they're looking at different targets, whatever the case may be. I think this is the one that we will sell before we buy, if we do that. If we do it. Now, I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen, but if it is going to happen in any scenario with Manchester United this summer, I think this will be the scenario that we see it in. It'll be Casemiro out, get 30 million in, and then you go, okay, well, we can afford to put another 30 million, to go for, Zubimendi, or you can afford to go for, Fofana, then, if that's the case, you know what I mean? There might be a situation where United go, right, well, look, we'll just get Adrien Rabiot on a free, and Casemiro then will try and push him out the door and see what happens. There are options available. And the fact that Manchester United, again, we go back to what we've said, with all of the areas that we've been looking at, centre-back, centre-forward, centre midfield, right-back, we've been linked, and we've been not negotiating, but we've been declaring interest in multiple options and multiple targets in each position. And we're doing that again at centre midfield. And it's the right way to do it, because If something falls to the wayside with Fofana, then you can go to Zubamendi. If Zubamendi doesn't work, then you can go back to, right, we'll go to Rabiot on a free. We've agreed personal terms with him so far. So it's very smart out of Manchester United, looking at Fofana, also looking at Zubamendi, looking to move on Casemiro, and then also potentially looking at getting Adrian Rabiot in on a free. We all know that Manchester United are one of the clubs that are interested in him. So again, and again, we go back to even smaller ones, like, getting maybe not Donny van de Beek, he's already gone. Christian Eriksen maybe moved on. Mason Mount has missed all of last season, so he could potentially come back in and be a brand new signing. He needs to have a good season this season, because if he doesn't, he'll find himself quite quickly on the bench and then maybe out the door. You never know. And then he's regretting never leaving Chelsea. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But it's the midfield is one that I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops, because there are multiple ways it could go. And let's see what happens. Chris says Fofana is a decent backup option to Ugarte. Yeah, again, I forgot to even mention Ugarte. He would be the best choice there, in fairness. We're probably more advanced with Ugarte than anybody else anyway. In my opinion, Ahmad is a better player than Marcus Rashford. It's a shame he wasn't given the chance last season, but the season they dropped Rashford and play Ahmad over him. He has much more. Jesus, Danny, you put in long comments, so you do. Chris says, Zubamendi is very much like Ander Herrera. Oh, man, bring me back Ander Herrera in his prime. I loved him. One of the few players in the post-Ferguson era that I just loved. He was brilliant. United don't need Rabiot anymore. I wouldn't go that far. I would trade Rabiot in for Casemiro. To be honest with you, you're getting a younger player, not by a lot, but yeah, let's see what happens. Just give me Ugarte and I'd be happy. Get Ivan Toney too. I think Ivan Toney in Manchester United will never happen now, because we're after getting Xerxes, two young players fighting it out. If Ivan Toney comes in now, he keeps both of them out of the team rather than just one of them before we sign Xerxes. Neverword says, if we get 30 million for Casemiro, then I'd hijack Fofana from AC Milan 100%. And Martin says, how good is Martin Zubamendi? And then how far with Manuel Ugarte deals? Well, look, I don't claim to be an expert on every player. I don't know an awful lot about Zubamendi. But what I can say now is, breaking news, I trust Dan Ashworth and the guys behind the scenes identifying players. I trust them. If they say Zubamendi, then let's go for Zubamendi, even though I don't know an awful lot about him. Bring it on. Still would end up benched with Ugarte in that midfield. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely, 100%. Guys, look, I think we'll leave it there. I do appreciate you all. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like button and do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Great to see new people in all of the time. Yusuf is new. Martin is new. Who else have we got? Frozen is new. We've got Lincoln there is new as well. So it's great to see new people. Ant is there. It's the first time I've seen him as well, I think. Great to see new people in the chat every night, guys. I do appreciate it. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're following us. For everybody who hasn't already done so, TikTok is the main one to keep up to date with throughout the day. If there's any breaking news, I tend to just jump on, make a quick TikTok, and then we talk about it in depth then here in the evenings. I will, of course, be back again tomorrow night. Turn on notifications as well, guys. If you are new to the channel, you get notified as soon as we go live. But we're live every weekday at 9 p.m. UK time, Ireland time. And then, of course, we do all the watch-alongs. We've got a watch-along at, is it 1 o'clock in the morning? Saturday night, Sunday morning. So we've got to watch along this weekend. Looking forward to it. But guys, appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your night. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.